What's up, guys? What's up? Yeah, boy Jay back at it again, with another one. Uh, just kind of outside, enjoying this beautiful day. It's fall, perfect weather. It's in the middle of hot and cool. The leaves are blowing, the trees are blowing. It's colorful of nature and all that good stuff. But I'm chilling out here, man, just thinking, you know, about to get to it. And this one is on how race plays a role in every aspect of American culture and society. Racialism, to be exact. Whenever you look and observe and pay attention to things where there is a lack of, you will notice that it's predominantly black and brown people, predominantly black. And then whenever you see things that where there's an abundance, nice homes, nice marketplaces, clean roads, everything like that, you'll notice that it's predominantly, on the, white. And, that's a, deeply, deeply ingrained element of American society and culture. And it stems back from, the origins, not the true origins, because we know as conscious people that, the people that we currently see here today, technically invaders, or not technically, are invaders, and strip this land from, indigenous inhabitants. And now, you rarely see the indigenous inhabitants because, for the most part, they were almost like genocide at all. If you go down to Latin America, South America, countries like Peru, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, places like that, and you'll see, more of the indigenous type of American people who inhabited this land. But it's a topic for another day. But when this nation started, from the pilgrims and the slaves, back in like, the 16th century, I say, roughly around there, 16th, 17th century. So what, 15, 1600s, the invasion took place. And with that invasion, you had, people who were brought here in bondage, people who had no rights, people who weren't looked at as human, people who were simply chattel. And that's where the term chattel slavery comes from. Nothing but property and a workhorse. You work all your life till death, and when you get up in age and you can't really work too more, you were bred, and then their children's and your offspring would continue to produce and manufacture and do the labor that others weren't doing so much at all. But they were reaping all the rewards and the wealth and the benefits off the labor of those black slaves. And then it's just been a consistent battle from then. Even after the Civil War, blacks were still facing we had a little time period where we had to come up from the late late 1800s to the 1900s, early 1900s, so roughly around 1870 through 1900. We had a nice little upheaval. Made a lot of progress in education, intelligence, and a little bit in finances as well, agriculture and things of that nature. But we are still facing a new form of slavery, which is called I call it Jim Crowism 2.0, or slavery 2.0, which is Jim Crowism. And from there, it was just like, blacks didn't have the same rights or access to the privileges and fruits of their labor. They were denied rights. They were denied the right to vote. They were denied, just basic civil and human rights to even live, without being targeted, whether it be by vigilantes, police, or institutions. You couldn't get a job. You couldn't get a good paying job or work. You couldn't even go inside of a restaurant to eat. You couldn't buy a home, and that was based on redlining, where, and we all know that owning a home is, essentially the middle class man and woman's dream, to elevate and, build capital, but, when you're stripped away from that right and access, you're not having that capability to purchase a home, back in, like, let's say the 50s or 60s, when they were like $5,000, you know, $5,000, $10,000, and so forth, and now you figure those are your grandparents in today's society, which is the 21st century, and that same home that they purchased for $5,000 is now $500,000, maybe even more, $1 million. But when you were stripped away from that access to purchasing those homes, you don't have that same capital, you don't have that same wealth. And it's the equivalence with, like, education. It wasn't until really the second Civil Rights Act, because there was the original one in the 1860s, and then the second one came about in the 1960s. The Civil Rights Act, that's, consists of, big people like, that you would know, is Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Medgar Evers, and all the people like that. But it wasn't until then, black people were really even able to go and get an education, because prior to that, they were, prohibited, simply based on the color of their skin. So, and these same effects from history in this country, which is, like I said, is a culture of racialism, is still affecting the people today. And that's why you see, primarily blacks with a lack of, and then, whites with, an abundance, because they're gatekeeping the institutions of wealth, of knowledge, of power, and they're utilizing those same institutions to not only enrich themselves but hold others down. And it's a vicious cycle. If I was to prophesize anything, and I'm by no way, shape, or form a prophet, but if I were to, make a little, judgment and prophesize, I would say that, things are going to change, because it's inevitable at this point, because the demographics are changing so heavily and so quick, in the world. And then since we have, media, where access to knowledge and information and truth, people are exposing the real truth to history. And I think that plays a huge role in what comes next. I think real change is going to come. I'm an optimistic dude, so, and that's just me and my belief. But, as of right now, we're dealing with the gatekeepings of society. It's not fair, it's not right, but, that's, something that we are currently dealing with. I mean, if you look at all the majority institutions where actual economics and real wealth is, being dealt, you won't really see too many people of color. Definitely not black people, but it's definitely a reality of America, and it's definitely trying to change, I guess. But you got to understand that there's a reason why things are the way they are. There's a history, and there's people behind the scenes that are, conducting themselves to make sure that, a select few of people are down while the others are up. You got to pay attention to that. Stay on point, guys. But yeah, man, just a little quick, message to you guys, and your boy Jay. If you like the content, if you dig it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, please. All your support is cool, it's it's helpful, and we're gonna keep this thing going. Because the more enlightened people there are, the better we are in this society at large. So that's it, guys. Take it easy. Peace.